What if I told you that just a 1% improvement every day could change your entire life? No drastic overhauls, no overwhelming goals, just small, simple steps forward. It sounds too easy, right? But this is exactly how great masters, monks, and even the Buddha himself cultivated wisdom and enlightenment. Imagine compounding peace, discipline, and mindfulness little by little, until one day you wake up transformed. In this video, we'll uncover 7 powerful Buddhist lessons that prove why gradual progress isn't just effective, it's life-changing. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll see the hidden power of small daily actions like never before. 1. Small changes compound into massive results. One of the greatest misconceptions about personal growth is that meaningful change requires big, bold actions. But Buddhism teaches us that true progress is made through consistent, small steps. Imagine a cup filled with muddy water. If you try to remove all the dirt at once, you will likely spill the water and make a mess. But if you slowly add clean water, little by little, the dirt is gradually washed away, leaving behind a pure and clear liquid. The same is true for personal transformation. If you try to change everything in your life overnight, adopting a perfect diet, exercising every day, meditating for hours, it becomes overwhelming and you're more likely to give up. But if you focus on small daily improvements, drinking one more glass of water, taking a short walk, practicing a few minutes of meditation, these changes begin to compound over time. They lead to profound, lasting results. Buddhism emphasizes patience and persistence. The Buddha himself didn't attain enlightenment in a day. He spent years practicing, refining his understanding, and making gradual improvements in his thoughts and actions. If he had given up because progress seemed too slow, his wisdom would have never transformed the world. So remember, every small action you take today contributes to the person you will become in the future. Whether it's replacing one negative thought with a positive one, reading a few pages of a book, or simply breathing deeply when feeling stressed, each step matters. Over months and years, these small changes will shape your entire destiny. 2. Your identity is built through small wins. Many people believe that identity is something fixed. You are either disciplined or not, successful or not, peaceful or not. But Buddhism teaches that identity is not a static thing. It is something that is built and reinforced through daily actions. Think about a sculptor carving a statue from a block of stone. With each small chisel, the rough edges are refined, and over time the form begins to take shape. The sculptor does not see immediate results, but with consistent effort, the masterpiece emerges. Your identity is shaped the same way. If you meditate for just 5 minutes today, you may not see yourself as a meditator yet. But if you do it every day, even for a short time, you begin to embody that identity. The same applies to any trait: patience, discipline, kindness, wisdom. Instead of trying to completely change who you are overnight, focus on small wins. If you respond with calmness in a stressful moment, you reinforce the identity of someone who remains composed under pressure. If you choose to be kind to someone who frustrates you, you are training yourself to be a more compassionate person. The lesson here is simple. Who you become is determined by what you repeatedly do. Every small action is a vote for the person you want to be. 3. Habits are the foundation of long-term success. In Buddhism, the mind is often compared to a garden. If you plant good seeds, kindness, patience, mindfulness, your life will blossom with peace and happiness. But if you allow weeds, anger, negativity, bad habits to take root, they will overtake everything. The key to a fulfilling life lies in what you cultivate every day. Your habits are the seeds of your future. If you consistently practice mindfulness over time, you will develop a deeply peaceful and centered mind. If you practice gratitude every day, your natural state will become one of joy and contentment. The Buddha taught that our thoughts and actions repeated over time shape our destiny. Consider the example of a person who wants to become more disciplined. If they try to force themselves into a strict routine overnight, they will likely fail. But if they start small, waking up just 5 minutes earlier, writing down their goals, practicing self-control in small situations, they will build the habit of discipline effortlessly over time. The secret to success is not in grand resolutions, but in the small daily habits that accumulate over months and years. Just like a tree grows slowly but steadily, your success is built one habit at a time. 4. The power of marginal gains. The principle of marginal gains is a concept that emphasizes the power of small incremental improvements. At first glance, improving by just 1% each day may seem insignificant, but over time, these tiny changes compound, leading to extraordinary results. In Buddhism, this concept aligns with the path of gradual enlightenment, where small, mindful actions and consistent effort lead to profound inner transformation. We often assume that success, wisdom, or happiness comes from one grand breakthrough, but this is rarely the case. In reality, lasting growth happens little by little. Just as a tree doesn't grow tall overnight, but instead strengthens its roots and branches steadily over the years, human transformation follows the same principle. The Buddha himself didn't achieve enlightenment in an instant. He dedicated years to refining his thoughts, mastering his emotions, and deepening his understanding through small daily practices of mindfulness and meditation. To understand how marginal gains work, imagine a musician who wants to learn to play the piano. If they sit down on the first day and attempt to play an entire song perfectly, they will likely become frustrated and feel like a failure. Their fingers won't move fast enough. They will hit the wrong notes, and they may even convince themselves that they are not talented. But if they commit to just 1% improvement each day, learning a few notes, strengthening their hand coordination, practicing basic melodies, they will make slow but steady progress. A month later, they will be playing full songs. A year later, they might be performing with ease. The key is consistency, not intensity. The same principle applies to every aspect of life. Let's consider health as an example. Many people want to get fit and healthy, but they believe they must make drastic changes all at once. Going on strict diets, exercising for hours every day, and completely overhauling their routines. This approach often leads to burnout, frustration, and ultimately failure. Instead, what if they focused on just a 1% improvement each day? Drinking 1 extra glass of water, stretching for 5 minutes, walking a little more than usual. These small steps may not seem like much at first, but over time, they add up. A year later, they will have a completely different level of health and energy. The same principle applies to mental and emotional well-being. If someone wants to become more patient, they don't need to suddenly force themselves to be perfectly calm in every situation. Instead, They can focus on small improvements, taking a deep breath before reacting, pausing before speaking in anger, or practicing mindfulness for just a few minutes each day. Over time, these small acts accumulate, and what once felt like an effort becomes second nature. A person who improves their patience by just 1% each day will, after a year, have transformed their ability to remain calm and composed in stressful situations. Buddhism teaches us to embrace the process of slow, steady improvement rather than seeking instant perfection. Many people feel discouraged when they don't see immediate results, but real progress happens beneath the surface before it becomes visible. Think of a bamboo plant. It spends years growing its roots underground, seemingly making no progress. Then, almost suddenly, it shoots up rapidly. This is how marginal gains work in life. You may not notice the change right away, but if you stay committed to small improvements, your growth will eventually become undeniable. When you embrace the power of marginal gains, success becomes inevitable. It removes the pressure of perfection and allows you to focus on the journey rather than the destination. Every great achievement, whether in spirituality, career, health, or relationships, starts with a series of small, intentional steps. Instead of being discouraged by how far you have to go, focus on improving just a little each day. Over time, these tiny improvements will lead to extraordinary results. 5. Success comes from mastering the process, not chasing perfection. One of the biggest obstacles to progress is the belief that we must be perfect from the start. Many people hesitate to begin new habits, start projects, or pursue their goals because they are afraid of making mistakes or not doing things perfectly. But Buddhism teaches that attachment to perfection leads to suffering. The more we focus on achieving an ideal outcome, the more we set ourselves up for frustration and disappointment. In reality, perfection is an illusion. No one ever masters a skill, gains wisdom, or achieves success overnight. Even the most accomplished individuals, great artists, spiritual leaders, skilled athletes, started as beginners. The Buddha himself did not achieve enlightenment in a single moment. He spent years meditating, reflecting, and refining his understanding of life's truths. If he'd waited until he felt perfect before sharing his wisdom, his teachings would have never reached the world. This lesson is essential in all aspects of life. Take learning a new language, for example. Many people feel embarrassed to speak because they fear making mistakes. They want to speak fluently right away, without going through the slow and sometimes awkward learning process. But true fluency comes from consistent practice, making small mistakes, learning from them, and gradually improving. The same applies to learning any skill, whether it's playing an instrument, writing, cooking, or even meditating. If you focus on the process instead of perfection, progress becomes effortless and natural. Another common example is fitness. Many people start a workout routine with the idea that they must have the perfect diet, the best training plan, and flawless discipline. But when they miss a workout or eat something unhealthy, they feel like they've failed and give up entirely. The truth is, small inconsistencies don't matter in the long run. What matters is that you stay committed to the process. Instead of aiming for a perfect routine, simply focus on showing up and making small improvements each day. Buddhism emphasizes the importance of being present in the journey rather than obsessing over the destination. When you focus too much on an end goal, you become attached to an outcome that may or may not happen. But when you focus on mastering the process, whether it's meditation, self-discipline, kindness, or any other skill, you naturally improve over time. This mindset brings peace because you no longer see mistakes as failures, but as valuable learning experiences. Think of a sculptor working on a block of marble. If they are only focused on the final masterpiece, they may become impatient and frustrated. But if they learn to enjoy the process of shaping the stone, making adjustments and refining the details, they will not only create a beautiful sculpture, but also develop a deep appreciation for their craft. The same is true for personal growth. If you want to become more mindful, don't worry about being perfectly present all the time. Just practice mindfulness a little more each day. If you want to become more disciplined, don't expect yourself to suddenly be flawless in your habits. Just focus on staying consistent. Success comes not from perfection, but from persistence. The real question is not, am I doing this perfectly? But, am I doing this consistently? The more you commit to the process, the better you will become, and the results will take care of themselves. By letting go of the pressure to be perfect, you free yourself to grow, learn, and succeed naturally. The goal is not to achieve an impossible standard of flawlessness, but to become better each day, one step at a time. 6. Overcoming resistance becomes easier. One of the biggest challenges in personal growth is resistance, the internal force that tries to keep you in your comfort zone. Resistance is what makes it difficult to start a new habit, push through discomfort, or stay committed to a long-term goal. It's the voice in your head that says, "I'll start tomorrow. I don't feel like doing it today." Or, "What's the point?" Buddhism teaches that resistance is a natural part of the human experience, but it is not something that should stop us from moving forward. Instead, it should be understood and gradually overcome. In Buddhism, suffering arises from clinging to comfort and avoiding discomfort. When we resist change, it's often because we are attached to the familiar, even if it no longer serves us. Our minds seek safety in routines, and anything new or uncertain feels like a threat. This is why starting a new meditation practice, waking up earlier, or committing to daily self-improvement can feel so difficult. Our minds create excuses to keep us where we are. Resistance doesn't have to be a barrier. It can be something we work with. Instead of trying to fight against it with sheer willpower, Buddhism teaches us to acknowledge resistance and take small, manageable steps forward. The more we expose ourselves to discomfort in small doses, the weaker resistance becomes over time. Imagine a person who wants to start meditating. On the first day, sitting in stillness for even 5 minutes might feel like a struggle. Their mind will resist. It will create distractions, tell them they don't have time, or convince them that they aren't doing it right. But if they commit to just 5 minutes a day, something interesting happens. By the second week, their mind starts adapting and meditation feels a little easier. By the third month, 5 minutes feels effortless, and they naturally want to extend their practice. The same principle applies to any area of life. Think about physical exercise. If someone who has never exercised before suddenly tries to run 5 miles, their body and mind will resist. It will feel overwhelming, painful, and discouraging. But if they start by walking for 10 minutes a day, they bypass resistance, Over time, that 10 minutes becomes easy, and they naturally increase their effort without forcing themselves. Overcoming resistance is like training a muscle. The more you do something, the easier it becomes. In the beginning, any new habit or change feels unnatural, but with consistent effort, it becomes a normal part of life. The key is to start small and stay consistent. Buddhism also teaches that suffering comes from our resistance to reality. Often, we make things harder than they need to be, simply because we resist them mentally. For example, if you view waking up early as something dreadful, you will struggle every morning. But if you shift your mindset and see it as an opportunity for peace and productivity, waking up early becomes easier. The lesson here is simple. Resistance is normal, but it is not permanent. Every time you push through discomfort, even in small ways, you weaken resistance and strengthen your ability to take action. Over time, the things that once felt difficult will become second nature. If you commit to just 1% improvement each day, resistance will naturally fade, and you will become someone who takes action with ease. The key is not to wait for motivation, but to develop the habit of moving forward, even in small ways. In the end, the path to success is not about avoiding resistance, but learning to work with it, one step at a time. 7. Time becomes your greatest ally. In today's fast-paced world, people want instant results. They want to lose weight in a week, learn a skill in a month, or find success overnight. But Buddhism teaches us to see time differently, not as something we need to outrun, but as a supportive friend that, when used with care, can lead to deep transformation. Many people feel disappointed when they don't see quick results. They follow a new habit for a few days, and when they don't observe any big change, they stop trying. But this impatience comes from not understanding how real growth truly works. In Buddhism, everything in life moves according to a natural rhythm. Just like a tree doesn't become tall in a single day, we also don't gain wisdom, peace, or success suddenly. Think about the example of bamboo. When a bamboo seed is planted, it looks like nothing is happening for years. It remains under the ground, building a strong root system. Then, almost unexpectedly, it grows very fast, rising several feet within a few weeks. This is how long-term progress truly happens. You may not notice quick results, but every small effort is strengthening your base. When the right moment comes, your growth will become clear. This truth applies to every part of life. Imagine two people who both decide to improve themselves. One person wants fast results, so they push themselves with extreme changes, working out for long hours, meditating for too long, and suddenly changing their whole lifestyle. But within a few weeks, they become tired and quit. The second person chooses a different method. They focus on just a 1% improvement each day. They exercise for 10 minutes, meditate for 5 minutes, and make small changes to their routine. At first, their progress is slow and almost unnoticeable, but over time these small steps build up, and after a year they become a completely different person. Time supports those who stay patient. If you stay committed to simple daily improvements, you will eventually reach a point where success is unavoidable. Many people don't realize what they can accomplish in a year, or even 5 years, because they focus too much on quick results. But if you trust the journey and stay steady, time will support you. Buddhism reminds us of the value of being present and patient. Rushing towards success usually brings exhaustion and frustration. But when you treat time as a friend, you develop patience and strength. You no longer feel the need to see results immediately, because you trust that every small step is creating something bigger. Think of someone learning to play an instrument. If they practice a little each day, even without noticing instant improvement, they will eventually become good at it. But if they stop too early, they will never reach that level. The same is true in health, relationships, career growth, and spiritual progress. Time is always working quietly in the background, multiplying our small actions. The lesson is simple. Trust the process and be patient with yourself. The changes you make today may look small, but with months and years, they will bring a transformation greater than you can imagine. Instead of seeing time as an enemy, think of it as a force that helps you grow slowly, steadily, and strongly. If you stay focused on improving just 1% each day, time will become your strongest support, and your success will naturally follow. Every major transformation begins with one small step. When you accept the power of 1% daily improvement, you connect with the timeless wisdom of Buddhism. Patience, presence, and mindful action create deep change. Which of these lessons touched you the most? Tell me in the comments. And if this video brought you value, you can subscribe for more insights on wisdom, mindfulness, and personal growth. Until next time, stay present, stay mindful, and keep growing.